My mum will be absolutely delighted with this because the first Cork guest on Léim Thart, it's Lyra. Welcome.
Hello, how are ya?
Oh, I'm all right. And yourself?
I'm great. I'm absolutely delighted to be chatting to you. I'd had a little old listen to the old calf and I was like, oh, my time is coming.
Well, it is about damn time.
Well, you know what? Better late than never, as they say.
Yeah, better late than never. You are Lyra. Got a bit to chat about today. So you've been heard everywhere from Irish Song of the Year nominations list to Love Island to Grey's Anatomy, even to the first festival we had in Ireland since COVID, where I actually had the pleasure of watching you and
Oh,
had a fantastic time. Just wanted to check back in. How was the day? Because everyone seemed so appreciative, whether it was like the audience who could be sort of surrounded by a crowd again, or just the artist who didn't have to just perform to a camera anymore.
yeah, that was kind of it for me because, like, as you probably saw from that performance, I have a very, very loud voice. So, like, trying to do these Zoom concerts was like a nightmare for me because, like, the gain on my laptop was like, if it could shout, like, shut up to me, it would have. Like, it was so bad. It was like everything like shaking. And I was like, no. So, like, to get back out on stage and be able to, like, give it Holly and, like, really enjoy myself and, like, enjoy singing again to eyeballs rather than, like, a hole in my laptop was, like, magical moment. And the audience were, like, so up for it. Everyone was so nice. Like, you probably saw my top broke halfway through and everything. I was, like, dancing so much and I can't even dance. And I was, like, I was going bloody crazy. It actually was like the first workout I've probably had in a long time and the first concert I've had in a long time. And yeah, the top went flying off me and everything. Oh my God, I had a whale of a time. I will never forget that moment.
And you had loads of great stories. I particularly
Oh,
loved the one you had where you told us about how Tinder had a little something to do with falling.
yeah, I had my own little Tinder swindler, didn't I? No, I didn't. Not that bad. Jesus wept. I wouldn't have the money to give him anyway. Yeah, I was with a guy, and like as I probably said, like I'm the type of person like I fall in love like really fast, and I'm just like I've like one snog, and I'm like that's it now. We're boyfriend and girlfriend without even telling him, and he's like, no, we're not, girl. So yeah, and then my friends randomly saw him actively live on Tinder. And I was like, what in the name of God is going on here? But like, I didn't want to be like too overpowering. I mean, doesn't sound like me, but I didn't want to be too overpowering and be like, here, what you doing? So I was kind of like thinking to myself, right, how am I going to kind of win him over kind of vibes? That's the road I was going down. And after a while, I was like, this is so pathetic. Like trying to be like so cool when I was like inside fuming. And I was like, girl, you can't keep doing this. So I went home and I was like, I'm going to write something about it. But I didn't want it to be like a ballad kind of esque. I kind of wanted it to be sexy. I wanted to like empower myself through this song. So I wrote Falling and that was it.
Yeah, and I happened to just be recording at the time because there was a table of girlos right beside me, and they roared when you said, "If anyone here works for Tinder, come find me. I'll give you his name and blacklist the bastard."
Go on, yeah. Girl gangs, girl empowerment. I love it.
Well, that's the story behind Falling, but we're here to talk about your new single, "Lose My Mind."
Mind is lost.
Losing your mind, losing our minds, watching it that day, and great to have a new song, and it's a bit dancey as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, check me out, dance queen. I kind of like. I think it's another one where obviously my first EP, Wild, I like wrote it myself and I put it out into the world myself. It was very much an independent release, and it was very like Enya was a massive inspiration for me. I know I'm talking about other songs, but I will get to why I'm talking about this now. And you're like, wrong song, girl, wrong song. Anyway, and I kind of wanted a lot of my influences were very Irish orientated. And I kind of developed then as a songwriter and like got to write with producers that, you know, could introduce new sounds to me and but I was always doing those big massive choruses. Like that was my jam. That's what I always wanted to do. I was like, if I'm not sweating in the studio doing the demo, then it's not a song for me, blah blah. And then I went out with my friends one night and I was like, had such a laugh. I kind of like let my hair down, went a bit wild. Like normally I have a few drinks. I'm literally a bit tipsy and I'm like, I gotta go home. Like I'm not that cool. I get so like so fast. I'm like two glass wine, I'm like, oh yeah. So that night I was like, you know what, I'm going to stay out. I'm going to be a bit wild. I'm going to be a kind of a different side of me that I haven't been in a long time. And I went in the studio next day hungover and I was like, I want to write about it and I want it to be fun and I want people to be able to dance to it. And I want people just to really understand what I'm singing about because there's no like mixed messages. It is what it says on the tin. Like, you know, it is it. And that's where I kind of lose my mind kind of came out of. And it was a great one to bring out once we were starting to open up and we were actually able to do other things and dance around the kitchen table. I decided this one would be a good one to kind of flake into the world.
I think that sort of day after it's so underrated in a way because people talk about how there are like so many songs about partying, this, that, or the other, but genuinely it is a very inspiring if you've had a great night out and kind of the day after where you're a bit mellow, bit calm, maybe the head's a bit sore, but you're just kind of have a content feeling within you. It's so underrated.
I definitely could have still been drunk. Like, I'm not going to lie. I definitely could have still been drunk. Like, I can see you looking. He's like, what? I'm like, just singing at the producer. And he's like, can you come up with another line? But I keep losing my mind. I'm like, no, I'm just repeating it. Oh, God.
That's so hilarious.
It's gas.
But it's now even more dance floor ready because we have the remix.
Oh, yeah, baby.
With Shane Codd. He's had some great success in the last year. And what made you want to have Shane jump on the track?
Well, he's like new, up and coming. He's like fresh. I genuinely was obsessed with his song that he had knocked down, the Get Out of My Head song. So I was like, this is a vibe. And I don't know, I just kind of thought him being Irish as well. I like, a lot of people from other places were asking if they could do a remix of, but I really wanted it to be an Irish producer. So
support local.
Yeah, exactly. Support our own. Our people got in contact. Our people, as if we have the big Beyonce team of 100 people. We don't. And then me and Shane just started messaging via Instagram, like sending voice notes and like getting a vibe going, and then just kind of like started working on it via that. Like he was doing it from Dubai. I was like, you glamorous little thing. And there's me like in Cork, like my sister's kids hanging off me, being like, oh, our lives are so different right now. But we great crack doing it, which is the main thing as well.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he loved getting a voice note from you walking up Patrick Street being like, I want a bit more of this and a bit less of that.
There was some voices and he was like, what's that word mean? And like, I can't even think of what it was. And I had to explain to him and I was like, oh, it's Cork slang. Sorry about that. He obviously was like, what is your one on? I was mortified.
How long did it take? I guess he would have started working or sort of doing his thing, but also you would have to be a part of it too, It
did take a while. Like, I suppose if we got into the studio, it would have been a whole lot faster because we just would have both put our minds together and be like, okay, this is how I hear it. That's how you hear it. Let's just go for it. But we did have to do it like over like some means of social media because, as I said, Shane was in Dubai at the time. It was still good because like it wasn't like one day and it's done and that's it and you never talk to each other ever again. We actually like had weeks of like going back and forth and like talking about other things and just like having a vibe with each other. And I did say to him at the start, I was like, you go on, you flake away and you do what you do because like that's his world. He's the dance king, the dance world producer. And I was like, then I'll come in and see how I hear it going and we'll just do it together. Because normally when I do things, I'm pretty bad that I have like lists of things that I want and notes, and literally the guy who does all the mixing on my tracks is like, are you bringing a PowerPoint in today? I'm like, yeah, I am. Like, I'm so bad. So it was actually quite nice to sit back and be like, you know what, this is your field. You go and you create, and I'm really excited to hear what you come up with.
Yeah.
And just as well, we both liked it.
Yeah, just good to relax. If you're used to kind of always being in charge and having to be meticulous about it, just gas pedal off.
Yeah, just like, here you go. There are the stems. See you next week. I'm off for a Chardonnay. I actually hate Chardonnay. I'm more of a Sauvignon Blanc person. I didn't even know why I said Chardonnay.
Okay, don't worry. I'll edit the podcast around so no one finds that out.
No one will know. They'll never know.
These are the little secrets that only I get to hear.
Yeah, says your one drinking the big cup of Barry's tea.
Oh, how can you tell she's from Cork?
How can ya? So funny because Caroline Henry, who's also my manager, she comes around with me and she's from Cork as well. So whenever we tea in the thing, she's like, it's not Barry's. We're like, we need to get our heads out of Cork. We're not in Cork anymore.
Oh,
Uh,
that's a bit like when you go down to Cork and the first thing they do, they're like, "Do you want a tenora?"
yeah, I know, yeah. I'm actually, you might have to edit this out too. I'm not a Tanor type of person. I'm a Club Orange.
Oh my god.
I shoot me down, Bridget. She's a Club Orange fan. I know. I'll get evacuated from Cork
You're getting
after
an
this.
eviction notice any
Yeah.
second.
Cypress Avenue will be like, you're never playing here again. Yeah.
Independents have you off the list.
Oh God. Maybe yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, that's me.
But can you expect to? Are you thinking about doing a few bits with Shane in the future? Maybe like starting a song from scratch, like a maybe a dance album.
I was thinking like a kind of a Florence and Machine, Calvin Harris vibe. So, and I think
Mm.
sometimes things like that only really work when, say, for instance, the artist writes a song and then the DJ comes in and kind of like takes it and then works on it. And like, I feel like for me, I probably wouldn't be able to write an absolute banger of a dance tune just because I'm just so not in the dancey world. I'm like so out of touch. I'd be up for doing something like that. And I have told Shane before, like, and you know, I've plenty of songs that I've written that I think would be amazing in his kind of world. So I might be flaking them over to him, like, hey, what do you think of this? Do you want to do something? That's would definitely be a vibe.
Well, would love to hear that. And
Love.
speaking of independence, before that, got plenty dates on the way. There's Independence, there's C Sessions, there's Kaleidoscope. Just announced Electric Picnic.
Mm-hmm.
What are all these festivals going to be like, Lyra?
Well, I'm so happy that we have Irish festivals back on the road because I was lucky enough to do a lot of festivals last year, but majority of them were UK because Ireland was still locked down. To be back doing Irish festivals is like the feeling is just going to be amazing because there is nothing like an Irish audience. And I'm not just saying it because I'm Irish, like every artist that comes to Ireland, they always say it. Like on stage, I was like, oh my God, there's like no place like America. Not America, no place like Ireland in the American accent. Um, you know, it's just like to be able to play at home is next level. And then my family and friends can come as well. I'm sure they probably think that I actually don't do anything by this stage because I haven't been anywhere doing anything. They're probably like, are you still in the music industry? I'm like, yeah, I am. Come to Independence. I'll show you. Marto. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I'm delighted as well that the festivals for themselves and their crews and you know the amount of work that goes into them that they finally are going to be able to go ahead rather than doing the work and then like we had last year with a few festivals they'd done all the work, they'd done all the booking and then everything was pulled, which is absolutely soul destroying for them. So I'm delighted now that all that hard work will be paid off this year and I think people will be like gagging for festivals, so it'll be extra special.
And we have some banging lineups. Like honestly, C Sessions and Independence are really impressing me this year.
I know. I literally am contemplating on staying like for the whole festival if I can, because the lineups are so good. Like I'm hoping when I play in Independence, and I'm near the headline act Rudimental, that they'll just be like warming up backstage or something. They might hear the old bellowing vocals and be like, hey, do you want to jump on a track? I'll be like, yeah, cool. So cool. Yes, I do. Inside I'm like, yes, I do. Yeah, it's what a Wicked and Bastille are playing. I think it's going to be amazing. We really have nailed it this year. And Electric Picnic actually have loads of Irish people playing it, like loads of Irish people, artists playing at it, like an actual like there's like a section on the poster for Irish artists, which I think is amazing for them to do because then people will know that they're Irish and they can't be like, oh, you're not playing Irish acts because we have bloody enough of them because we are all so good. Like we've such amazing talent.
Yeah, so much on the way. And can we expect a few more live dates from you in the coming few months? It's still early days.
Yes, you can. You can. I'm pretty sure you will be hearing a lot more dates from me, which would be great. I can't wait to get out there and have new music out and just do my thing. I feel like people are ready. I'm ready. We've all waited long enough. Let's go.
We're all raring to go. And
Really?
a bit more music as well would be great. I heard that you've been working with one Burns. As a huge Lady Gaga fan, I'm very jealous of this.
Yeah, I got to work with Burns and BloodPop and Rami Yacoub, which are like three of the guys who
Fuck
just done
off.
the thing. Yeah. BloodPop is literally like the coolest guy I've ever met in my entire life. He is just like his vibe.
Can you get me their number?
Yeah, I'm like, hey guys, I actually have their numbers because we were messaging. I'm so cool.
Pixar, it didn't happen.
Yeah, I know. Could you imagine? I was actually too mortified. I was like, I have to pretend that I'm really cool, so I can't actually ask for a photo. I'd be morto. I'm really bad that way. I just get mortified so easily. But when I was working with them, they were like, oh, LG's asking for this and LG's asking for that. And I was like, who in the bloody Nora is LG that they keep going about? Obviously, the Gaga herself. I was like, okay, cool. And then they were just talking about loads of these like famous people, but like by their nicknames or something. I didn't have a Scooby Doo what was going on. And it was actually, they were talking about the Ariana Grande and the Lady Gaga duet that was coming up. And like, obviously, hadn't been able, they played it to me and then it died. And then they played me her song with Elton John.
You heard Rain on Me early.
Yeah, I did.
Stop.
And I couldn't say anything. And I was so scared that I was like lip sealed. I'm not going to say anything. Yeah, it was so cool.
Do you know what? I actually agree with you. Whenever the good thing about doing like a podcast is sometimes you get sent something banging ahead of time, and the worst thing is you can't talk about it with anyone.
Yeah, you can't.
You want to bring it to your friend's house and play it to them and spend weeks talking about how great it is and find out together. But that is so cool. I'm telling everyone I know that.
It's so cool. My brother does that all the time because like we have a family group chat thing, and sometimes I'll come out of studio and I'm like, hey, I wrote this today, and I'll send them on to thing. And then next minute I'll get like 2 days later a message from one of my brother's friends like, hey, heard the new song's absolutely amazing. We're all bopping around it in the office. I was like, sorry, what? And I'm like, I'm messaging my brother and like, KJ, you can't be playing the tracks. And he's like, we were having an office party and everyone was putting on songs. So I just said, fuck it, I'm going to put on my sister. And I was like, you can't do that. He was there, like, everyone was like, love the new tune. It's not even out yet, like, and that was months ago. And I was like, oh, mortified, someone's going to record it and it's just going to be out. But yeah, he can't hold his water. I'm very good. I have to be good in the music industry. So you get told so much secrets, you can't say anything. They've actually stopped telling me because they're like, I was going on live at the Late Late and I got news that I was doing another appearance that I really want to do like weeks afterwards. And they just didn't tell me because they knew that once I start talking that I could say anything and I would just let it out. So now they just don't tell me. So I kind of have it easy. I just don't know anything.
Well, that's great. Between music and touring, do you have time for anything else this year?
Yeah, I do. Like, I'm still writing a lot, which is great because, like, you know, you're only as good as your last song kind of vibe. And like, you can write a song that day and I'm like, oh, holy Moses, this song's bloody amazing. This is my one. This is my one. I call it, this is my Take Me to Church because like, I wish to God that I wrote that song. And everyone's like, you're only saying that because you're managed by the same woman. I'm like, I'm not. I'm genuinely a fan ever before she took me on board. So, but I just keep going and I'm trying to write as much as I can. Like, it kind of made it easier now because, you know, before COVID, like there was no such thing that you'd have a Zoom session with a producer. Like you wouldn't, like you'd have to be in the studio. And sometimes that is quite hard when like I'm going back and forth a lot. Like I just came back to England for a week. I'm going back over to Ireland for a week and a half. I come back over to England for a week. So like if I had to be at the studio all the time, I probably wouldn't be able to write as much songs. But I just sit down, put on the Zoom, producer comes in, write a song, and that's it. And I try to do that as much as I can in between all this. So otherwise sure, at the end of the day, that's what it's about, is the music. So I need to keep going.
Yeah. And you're dead, right?
Keep it going.
Oh,
yeah.
I got a nice little acoustic performance.
Keep it going. I'm so bad. I'm one of those artists so that whenever I sing something, when obviously I'm not on stage or in the studio, I do like the worst voice or like, I'm like, oh yeah. And they're like, sorry, what? And I kept doing it I was doing an interview on something and I kept doing it and I was like, I actually have to stop doing this because people will be like, she can sing. And I'm like, they don't know that I'm joking. And I was like, oh, yeah. And they're probably like, she's supposed to be a singer. Mort.
Well, that's hilarious. Can't wait to see the rest of 2022. Might bump into you along the way somewhere, hopefully at a festival or a gig or something along the likes. But thanks for hopping on to Léim Thart, Lyra.
Oh, thanks for having me. I've had a great time. It's been right old chinwag, hasn't it?
It has.